Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Warcraft 3 1 vs 1 replay on Echo Isles. And this match is a particularly special match, as it is a WCA 2015 qualifier, and it is a best of 3, and this is game 3, so that means our purple Night Elf, Rust Colorful, has won one game, and our red undead player, fantafiction5, has also won one game. So we're going to skip it to about the 2-minute mark. That's when all the action begins. And we will see what heroes our players pick and how that's going to work out later on in the game. We have a Warden first for the Night Elf, which I very much like to see. I very much enjoy the Warden. And out comes the Warden. And looks like this Ogre is going to die just in time as the Warden gets out. And looks like the Warden actually got a Circle of Nobility, which is a very good item to start with. Ancient of War taking a bunch of damage here. Death Knight running after this Wisp. Gonna try and get a free kill here, but gotta watch out. Did hit it once and then hit it with the Death Coil, so got a little bit of free experience there. Yeah, 25 experience for a Wisp. And now the Warden moving over to the Undead side of the map. Undead choosing to creep on his own, which is one of two strategies the Undead typically use, and the other strategy is that you have a Death Knight, and you get Death Coil, and you find wherever your opponent is creeping, and then try and steal a creep or an item from your opponent, and then choose to creep later. Let's see what the Death Knight gets for his item, and he just got a Tome. It looks like he got a Tome of Strength. I'm not really sure. Actually, he got it so quickly that I didn't even see it. Warden messing around in the Undead base here. Might get a Shadow Strike off on some of these Acolytes, and that definitely hurts the Undead very bad when they're upgrading to Halls of Dead. They cannot produce any Acolytes, so if they lose them, it sets them back for pretty much the entire game. Now chasing that Warden with these ghouls here, but gotta watch out. Shadow Strike will do big damage to these, and particularly a Skeleton here. Gonna get some free experience from this Skeleton. And now the Death Knight moving over to the Ogre Warrior pack. Gonna try and get an item here. However, the incoming Warden, and she could Shadow Strike that, yeah, but decides to hit the Death Knight instead. Gloves of Haste for the Death Knight, a very good item in the beginning of the game. However, not so much for the Death Knight. More so for agility heroes, such as the Demon Hunter or Blade Master, or even so much as the Warden. Undead with lots of low health point units here could easily get a few kills on with the Warden here, maybe Shadow Strike, and pick up just a little bit more experience to get to level 2. And the Death Knight is now level 2 with his level 1 Unholy Aura and 2 Rods of Necromancy. One is halfway used though. Warden now moving back towards her base. Needs to creep a little bit, needs to get that level 2. And we'll see if she decides to actually get Blink or Fan of Knives, as both are typically viable strategies. However, if you get Fan of Knives, you typically don't have enough mana for both of them. And the Undead taking out an Archer there, getting a little bit of experience from that, and might be able to take out some of these Ogres now that the Warden has brought them over ever so kindly. We'll definitely take out one of these Ogre Warriors at least. And the Warden building up an army of 5 archers and going to bring them over here. Nothing dropping from that particular Ogre. The item is probably going to come from the Ogre Magi. And does drop an item, drops a Potion of Invulnerability, Potion of Overpoweredness. 15 seconds of invulnerability for the Death Knight. Easily one of the best items in the game. Death Coil in one of those low health archers, getting a little bit more experience. And so far, the heroes are just about even. Death Knight at 378 out of 500, and the Warden at 294. We'll see in the base here, we have a Graveyard coming up for the Undead player to get some Crypt Fiends out. And at the Tree of Ages for the Night Elf, and bringing up a Hunter's Hall now. Death Knight pretty low on health here, a little bit lower than the Warden, and Warden steals that Tome. I believe that was a Tome of Knowledge, a very good Tome, gives you 1 to all skills. Or all attributes, rather. And going to take out one of these ghouls. Almost got that ghoul. Hit it with a Death Coil, but a little bit of waste on a ghoul to Death Coil. As it's mostly the reason why Undead players typically get rid of their ghouls very early in the game, because they just die so easy and they feed your opponent. And here comes a Wisp. I was going to try and get a Dispel off on all of those Skeleton Warriors. That would be a pretty good Dispel there. But missed his opportunity. Decides to hide it in the trees instead. couple forest troll trappers up here, but I don't believe those drop any items, but they would give a little bit of experience to these heroes should they kill them. Second hero for the undead player, the Lich, now moving on out. Very popular second hero, and I hope he goes Frost Armor, because I really love to see Frost Armor, as I believe it's a really, really great skill. But a lot of the times I see players not actually using the Frost Armor skill, and instead just pretty much just using all their mana for Frost Nova. Now the Night Elf player, down here at this gigantic Murloc pack. However, the hero isn't nearby, but it doesn't need to be nearby, as when you only have one hero, the experience is global. Manual of Health and a Claws of Attack 6. I think it was a Manual Health that the Warden stole earlier. So there's another Manual Health for the Warden. Now the Warden has quite a bit of health there, and a Claws of Attack +6, a very good item for the Warden. Undead now heading down to the bottom. Maybe going to try and get this Murloc pack for himself. And Night Elf still struggling a little bit with this Murloc pack here. Taking a little while to kill it. But that's just because of the Archer's low damage. And a Frost Nova right in the middle of all those Murlocs doing big damage. And let's see what item was dropped. Nothing so far, I don't believe. A tome had dropped, and I didn't see exactly what it was. It looks like just a tome there, and I didn't really see the item that dropped. Now a Warden moving out towards the bottom of the map. Going to start a fight with this Renegade Wizard pack, and needs to keep his units a little bit out, so in case the Lightning Storm comes down. Dispel on the Warden there, but doesn't really do anything to the Warden. Doesn't mind that. And here comes the Lich, trying to get the Renegade Wizard pack for the Undead. And with the Night Elf army only having one hero, the Warden will get quite a bit of experience for this, but not going to quite make it to level 4. The Lich, however, will get to level 2 with this pack, I do believe, but the Death Knight will remain at level 3. And we will see what drops for the Undead player here. Claws of Attack +9, very good item. And see what dropped for the Night Elf player. It looks like a Talisman of Invasion. A pretty mediocre item. I see a lot of players selling that, although sometimes it can come in handy. Another Claws of Attack +6 for the Warden, so a total of +14 damage on that Warden. Not too bad. And the Death Knight moving out. He put that Claws of Attack +9 on that Lich with the Orb of Corruption, which I do agree with because it is range and can get a lot of hits off much more easily than that Death Knight. So a very good strategy to put your Claws of Attack on your Lich. And a Manual of Health dropped and a Replenishment Potion, but he immediately sells that Replenishment Potion as he doesn't really need it as Undead because he heals up so quickly with his aura anyway. Although I typically like to use those. He could have put that on the Lich, and when the Lich was low on mana, could have used that. Only gives you 75 mana, I believe, but could be just enough to get another Frost Nova in. And the third hero, the Dark Ranger, for the Undead player. It looks like the Night Elf player still just confident with just one hero. And when you have just one hero, that hero will gain much more experience than 3 heroes combined. But if you wait too long and these 3 heroes gain too many levels, then you're really going to be outgunned later in the game. Druids of the Claw, Dryads, and Archers moving in on this Undead. He's going to have to get out of there. Not really going to be able to do too much here. Might be able to harass this Ancient of War down, but I think that's going to be about it here. And the Druid of the Claw, of course, already master as they are in bear form. Lich pummeling out this Ancient of War here with his 25 and 31 plus 14 damage. Not too bad of a Lich. However, the Orb of Corruption does not affect the fortified armor. Rejuvenation on the Warden, and that Rejuvenation will backfire later on in the game when he has Destroyers, as the Destroyers will just consume that and use it for their own. And increase the damage of the Destroyers. Hitting a Ghoul, probably going to lose that Ghoul. Nope, going to hit it with a Death Coil. But I always feel that a Death Coil on a Ghoul is a little bit wasteful. Although he didn't want to lose that Ghoul. In that situation, you definitely would want to use it, just so you don't give experience to that Warden. But running around with Ghouls, never really the best idea. Although these players are in a WCA qualifier, so I have no room to talk, as they are much, much better than I was. Warden moving out towards the Undead base. You know, she can possibly maybe blink into the base and get a couple Acolyte kills. That would do a lot to the resource production of the Undead player, and probably going to do exactly that. Indeed, blinks right over the Nerubian towers, but getting hit by the Black Citadel and a Nerubian tower, so taking pretty much quite a bit of damage, but it's going to camouflage in the Knight. Just got Knight. Just able to use that camouflage. And going to start losing some Acolytes here. He's going to have to keep pulling them away, which is just as effective as killing them temporarily. Going to have to teleport back to his base as there was an assault, but looks like it's going to be thwarted by the Night Elf players. There are 6 bears, which is an egregious amount of bears if you ask me. And a couple 3 dryads and a few remaining archers. So I think the undead at the moment is definitely outgunned, but as long as he keeps on the move, he will be able to outmaneuver those bears. And if he gets enough destroyers, destroyers definitely counter bears, as the bears cannot hit the destroyers, and the destroyers consume the rejuvenation and use it for their own and makes them do more damage. So incoming undead attack. Let's see how this goes. All the bears moving up. Gonna do massive damage to these ghouls. Gonna lose these ghouls pretty quickly. Only loses 1 ghoul, but the Night Elf loses a bear, which I'd say is definitely a good trade. A ghoul for a bear, I would take that any day. Also loses a spider though, so probably evens that out just a little bit. A ghoul and a spider for a bear. I suppose that's a good trade. Undead with a scroll of healing. The Lich also with a scroll of healing, and the Dark Ranger no items. For the Warden, just a clause of attack plus 6, teleportation, preservation, and dust of appearance. So now kind of a little Mexican standoff here. Nobody able to really do too much. I would say that the undead should go out and maybe start creeping some of these larger packs here. Gain a little bit more experience on his heroes, as he has 3 heroes, and he needs lots and lots of experience to gain all the levels that he needs. Whereas the Warden will just level up pretty quickly on her own as a single hero. Going back to harass more Acolytes here might be a good idea to get a tower up, just to do some extra damage to this Warden here. But the undead going to come down from the bottom here while the Warden is all the way out there. And I don't think the Warden has actually rebought a Scroll Town portal, so she will be able to teleport back once this town is under siege. Almost gets a bear there, but uses the Moonwall to revive himself. Get some more health, rather. And this bear is taking quite a bit of damage, but the Dark Ranger is caught between all these bears, getting hit by like 3 or 4 bears at a time, doing massive damage, but takes a death coil, heals her up completely. Staff of Preservation on that bear, just barely saving it. Dark Ranger taking lots of damage, eating up lots of death coils, and that Abomination took way too much. And because that Dark Ranger was so low on health and used that death coil on that Dark Ranger, could not use that on the Abomination as the cooldown was not ready. So I would say the undead player definitely lost in that fight. I think a bear or 2 was lost, but not too bad, as looks like all of the ghouls now gone for the undead player. All turned into experience for that Warden. The Warden will be level 6 pretty soon. No, actually just only level 5 just now, so it will take quite a bit. So a level 5 Warden against a level 3 Death Knight, a level 2 Lich. It looks like still a level 1 Dark Ranger, but I think that will change this situation once he kills this level 7 Gargantuan Sea Turtle. And we'll see what happens. We have a 3, a 1, and a 2, and let's see. Looks like the Lich may get level 3. Indeed, does get level 3, and Dark Ranger almost. Only 5 experience. That sort of blows for the undead player there. Wanted to get that Dark Ranger to level 2. And almost cut off by that Night Elf player. I'm not sure if the Night Elf player actually seen the undead, because the undead is pretty much trapped in here. Can't really escape. Would have to either fight his way out and defeat the Night Elf where he stands, or a Scroll of Town portal back to his base. I'd like to see this Murloc Nightcrawler creep pack here being attacked, and certainly he does that. He goes right back to do that. And definitely levels up that Dark Ranger, and now we have a level 4 Death Knight. So we have a level 4 Death Knight, 2 Dark Ranger, and a level 3 Lich against a single level 5 Warden. But do not underestimate a single Warden, as can be very, very annoying hero. Uses that Dust of Appearance to find that burrowed Crypt Fiend, to get a kill on that Crypt Fiend, and loses a bear there. Pretty big experience to lose a bear. And may lose a second bear here. Yeah, definitely lose a second bear, as the hero wasn't around to use Staff of Preservation. And lots of damage going out on the undead, but it looks like more damage going to the Night Elf as he lost 2 bears. So giving the undead quite a bit of experience, and now going to run away, so he doesn't lose too much here. So a pretty good encounter for the Night Elf, or for the undead player rather. Now the Stature going to try and move away. Getting chased down by the Night Elf army, but I don't think it's gonna last here as the Unholy Aura sped it up, and now it's gonna be on its way. However, there's a burrowed Crypt Fiend and just barely takes a Death Coil, but I still don't think he's gonna make it because actually he doesn't have any Dust of Appearance, but the Shadow Strike, the poison damage, got that Crypt Fiend, and a little bit of experience goes to that Warden. 5.5 Warden for the Night Elf player. Still 3, 2, and 4 for the Undead player. And incoming lots of Dryads and a Warden. I would have liked to see that Warden Shadow Strike that Lich. Would have done some pretty good damage to it, although he could have easily Death Coiled it up, but he does not have the mana at the moment. So that's going to be a big problem if this Undead player gets into a fight immediately. Not going to have the mana to do the Death Coils that he's going to need to do. As this Abomination is probably going to get focused down. Going to lose a lot of health on that. Puts another Claws of Attack on that Lich. However, the Lich had a Claws of Attack previously, but he may have sold it for a little bit of money, as I remember him having a Claws of Attack +6. So that would have been nice if he would have kept that. He would have plus a 12 just from the Claws of Attack on that Lich. Be doing pretty good damage. Now the Undead player looks like he's going to go to the last remaining Gargantuan Sea Turtle on the map. Going to take that up, and that's going to be pretty good for him, as he's going to get typically get a pretty good item out of it. And at the same time, going to deny that Night Elf a pretty good item as well. Gargantuan Sea Turtle does chaos damage, so doing quite a bit to this Undead army, but he's got his skeletons in the way, soaking up all the damage. Looks like a Claws of Attack +9 was dropped by that Gargantuan Sea Turtle. Should give that to the Lich or the Dark Ranger. Actually gives it to the Lich. This Lich has +20 damage. Pretty good.
A player's forces are under attack.
Tree of Life under attack. Just got scouted out by a skeleton here from the Undead army. So that may not last long. And no harass is coming in from the Warden. Once that Warden gets level 6, if she does choose Vengeance, then can unleash a Vengeance here and actually use all of this graveyard here to bring up Invincible units and start attacking all these Acolytes. I'm going to have to move all of those out of there and lose all of his income temporarily. Night Elf army sitting up here. It looks like he's got 6 or 7 bears. Quite the bear army and lots of Dryads. So it's going to be a pretty good army. I'd say the Night Elf army is definitely bigger than the Undead army at the moment, except for the fact that he has so many heroes, which sort of makes up for the lack of units that he does have as a 3, a 4, and still actually not 2 anymore. Level 3 Dark Ranger. Level 5 Warden, nearly about 100 points, 93 experience to get to level 6. The ultimate for the Warden is very, very good. The Vengeance does quite a bit of damage, and with all of the little mini invincible units that it creates, can do lots and lots of damage to somebody's base or somebody's army. And there's really not much you can do about it. You can actually walk the Vengeance away once those are all up, and you can only have to wait till the timer they go away. That's about all you can do. Looks like he visited this marketplace, and I'm not sure what he got. I think he might have bought this Wand of Illusion to confuse his enemy once the battle starts. Gonna Wand of Illusion something, whether it's the heroes or possibly these abominations as well. Warden trying to poke in and out here. Gonna hit that abomination with a Shadow Strike. Doing pretty big damage to that abomination, but not gonna last too long with the Unholy Aura and the statue healing it back up. So not really an effective Shadow Strike there. All of the Night Elf army now down at the expansion here, just ready for the Undead player to come and attack it. However, it looks like Fantafiction is actually just going to go attack the main base of the Night Elf player. And indeed does that. So that means the Night Elf army is all the way down here, and they have no way to get up here in any quick manner, so they're going to have to run all the way up here. They're really not doing anything. They're all the way down here. I'm not really sure what they're doing all the way down there. They're going to have to move everything all the way up here. So the Undead player gets 1 Moonwell, may get a 2nd Moonwell here, has a Meat Wagon, so that's going to do some pretty big damage to these structures. 2 Moonwells down. Not doing too good. here for the Night Elf player, losing these 2 Moonwells, which is pretty expensive to replace, and the fact that they had quite a bit of juice already, or mana, whatever you want to call it. And gonna have to regenerate all that once he makes a new one, which only works at night. So if he makes one and in the daytime, not gonna work. Here come a couple bears, but they went in the wrong place. Looks like 3 bears here. Gonna lose 3 bears at once, perhaps. However, many bears, many dryads moving up on the Dark Ranger and the Lich. Gonna take some big damage on this Lich. May take a Shadow Strike here, but looks like the Warden's just going after all the units and decides to scroll teleportation out of there, but loses 1 more bear just as he leaves. So the Night Elf player losing quite a bit of bears there. A level 4 Lich, level 4 Death Knight, and let's see where that Dark Ranger was. I was hiding up here by the Tomb of Relics. Couldn't really see it. Still only level 3. Level 6 Warden now. But pretty dangerous with that Vengeance. And may try to get inside of the undead base here and use it, but I'm not sure if that's going to be very effective right now because the New Ruin Tower is going to slow her down, and all of the units are already here, so not a very good idea. So really, the Warden really doesn't have many options right now as the Night Elf player just to sit around. Both players are just going to have to sit around until they're all regenerated up, as there's really no more creeps on the map, I don't believe. As I don't see any more packs around, no. So it looks like everything has been creeped, so really they have nothing to do in their downtime except plot on each other. And plot their next move. Fighters almost entirely healed up. They are in the ground, they are in Blight, and they have the Aura, so they are healing very, very fast. As you can see, their health going up very quickly. And so whoever wins this game, so this is pretty stressful game. Whoever wins this will qualify for the WCA. And again, this is game 3. So the other games, one was won by Fantafiction and the other won by Rust Colorful. So now it comes down to this one game here. And a Wisp Scout all the way down here, but not going to be able to see that. And not going to be too effective to kill anyway, as it only gives 25 experience. It's going to be split between 3 heroes. Not going to do too much. So the Undead plotting around here decides to go through the bottom, but unfortunately for the Undead player, all of the Night Elf army is already down here, and they're going to run head into each other. Avatar Vengeance is already out, and indeed making illusions of those abominations, and now going to sort of mix them up, shuffle them up like a deck of cards here, so you can't really tell which is which. And so that's going to cause the Night Elf player to attack some of these illusions, and that's going to lower all the damage on the actual real units. All the bears shape-shifting, getting ready for a battle here, and the Vengeance is going to dominate this battle. Very, very good unit. The ultimate for the Warden only lasts a little while, though. Both players not really sure if they want to attack just yet. Loses a bear pretty much immediately there. And may lose this Crypt Fiend to a Shadow Strike. Death Knight all the way up in front in kind of a dangerous situation there. Tries to get a little bit back. A second bear now goes down. 2 or 3 bears have so far fallen, and these Crypt Fiends are in big trouble as they have bears right in front of their faces. May lose one of these Crypt Fiends as he doesn't have enough Death Coil to get all of them. And the Avatar of Vengeance now producing Spirit of Vengeances all over the place, so they are immune and vulnerable. So they're doing tons of damage to either kill that Avatar of Vengeance or it runs out of time. Dark Ranger in big trouble here, getting hit by all the Dryads at once. See if the Death Knight has a Death Coil for that Dark Ranger. However, Dark Ranger getting hit by a Shadow Strike directly after that Death Coil, so right back to where she started at low health. It gets hit by another Death Coil just in time. And Warden blinking around the battlefield, just hitting various units, but however he burrows that Crypt Fiend. And the Undead player very, very low on units here, as the Spirit of Vengeance is just doing so much damage that they can't be targeted or anything like that, so it's just going to have to run away from that. And a few Acolytes here getting in on the battle as his graveyard, or mine rather, has depleted. Warden getting rejuvenated here, and he really needs to take out this expansion of the Night Elf army. Otherwise, he may lose this game because he simply just doesn't have anything left in him. He doesn't have any more income coming in. And he really doesn't want to lose this last Abomination, and it looks like the Night Elf player is just really going for this last Abomination, and that's his only tank left. So he's going to want to keep Death Coiling that, but he's all out of mana, so I think he will lose that Abomination. And that's a big loss for the Undead army there, losing all of his Abominations. And that Avatar of Vengeance still causing trouble, and that's why the Avatar of Vengeance is such a good ultimate, is that this has been around since the start of this fight. It's just causing trouble everywhere, producing the Spirit of Vengeance, but now loses that Avatar of Vengeance. So it lasted that long and did that much damage to the Night Elf player. Now going after the Tree of Life here, and definitely needs to take out this Tree of Life. However, he brings out a couple Wisp from the mine to dispel the Dark Ranger's skeletons. And Warden coming in, just a couple Dryads and a Bear with the Warden here, and not really going to be able to do anything to these these 3 heroes and 2 destroyers. So just going to have to run away and lick his wounds, try and develop as much funds as he can, save that up, and develop an army to battle this Undead, because the Undead does not have any income. So if he just saves up for a little while, but however, he may lose this and won't be able to save up once he loses that. So he definitely needs to pressure this Undead as much as he can. Now has about 4 Dryads and a Druid of the Claw. So now he has a fighting chance here. And all these Dryads are going to go after the Destroyers. Going directly after the Dark Ranger. Loses that Warden and loses the game here. So Rust Colorful GGing out, leaving Fantafiction the winner. And I hope you guys enjoyed this replay here. And I will see you guys next time.